Hey, TruBlu crew, producer Jimmy here. Just wanted to chime in really quickly before the episode starts and let you know that we hit a little snafu this week. So, as usual, we went in a couple days ago, recorded the episode in person with our special guest, and immediately afterwards, when I went to edit it, I found out that the entire file corrupted and we lost literally the whole hour and a half that we had just recorded of the interview, which was really incredible and exciting. And unfortunately, technology screwed us over this time. So instead, to kind of work around that, we redid the whole episode, the whole interview over Zoom. So if you hear a little bit of a downward turn in audio quality this week, that's the reason why. There were no, pro microphones involved like I usually try to make happen. That is the reason. So, if the audio sounds weird, it's just a one-time thing. I promise you we'll be back to our regular quality audio as promised by me in the future. So, anyway, please enjoy the episode. It's a great conversation, and yeah, bye.
Hey, Anita.
Hey, Karen.
How's it going?
Just fine. You ready for the new podcast?
Yes, we're going into episode 10, if you can believe it.
Wow. Unbelievable. Let's do it.
Blue wave, we rise to save the day. Only me, only you can let our hearts sail away on a blue wave.
So, Anita, today we are happy to be joined by Richard Henzel. Richard is a local to me actor living in Oak Park, Illinois. And he is best known for playing role in Groundhog Day, the famous movie with Bill Murray, and set in Woodstock, Illinois. And he does a lot of audio books as well, which is how my husband Rich actually
Recognized him.
recognized him from. And then also just a whole list, the length of my arm of achievements in acting. And we're thrilled.
Yeah, he was in The Untouchables, right? The Untouchables?
The Untouchables, exactly.
Yes.
So we are happy to have you here with us. And more recently, right, Richard, you have been doing one-man show depicting
Mark Twain.
Well, recently is just since 1968.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh,
Just
so it's been a while. It's been a little bit.
You've carried it through. That's kind of your longest gig, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So you're still doing that right now?
The last one I did was out in Rolling Meadows, not Rolling Meadows, suburbs, Arts Council, Barrington Arts Council. We did that in 2020, I think, and I haven't done it since. It's a lot of work to put it together for just one night. So, when I do it, I usually try to do like a week run or 2 weeks because it's so much work to put it together and to just do it one time.
Yeah, it's a one-man show, so yeah.
Yeah, but I've played in 40 states and Canada and Wales, and it's been a long journey, lovely journey, and it was really kind of what got me politicized as a boy, because we were told pick some books to read, and we used to get a list of books. And when I discovered Mark Twain, I'm just going to get one of these every time. Why waste my time with trying a book I won't like when I know I'll love all these? Mm-hmm. So that's my first exposure. Then I had some great mentors, a fifth grade teacher who divided the class into halves and had one half of the class perform a show for the other half of the class every Friday.
Oh, cool.
So I was on
Wow.
I was on a 2-week show schedule at the age of 10. I was having
That's incredible.
I was
that
having
you
to
did
come
that.
up with,
Yeah.
I was coming up with ideas and puppets and music and whatever. And that
Yeah.
was the year that we all started playing instruments in 5th grade. And she came in the first day and took out a violin and started playing it. And she said, "You kids, you can sign up for band this year," And so that's the teacher. Then there was
Wow.
a high school teacher who he was just wonderful and very supportive. And he heard me talking about seeing Hal Holbrook. He was like his first year teaching, my last year of high school, so we're only about 5 years apart. But he heard me talking about Hal Holbrook, and he says, "Where's your show?" And I said, "Well, he already did it." He says, "He's not going to be the last. You're not going to be the next to last. Everybody's going to be doing this forever. Find some material like." And so that's when I started finding material. At the same time, we had a lot of protests going on. And I was in a campus where all the freaks, all the left-wingers, all of us sat at one table in the student union at Bowling Green University, 13,000 students, and it was just maybe 10, 10 real activists. And so I started playing dorms and fraternities and all kinds of events, doing Mark Twain, but doing the usual things, Tom Sawyer, but also the war prayer and
Anti-war stuff. Yeah.
anti-war stuff. And it was so effective, and I just kept doing that. So it's been my life.
Huh.
So Richard, yesterday, of course, and to our listeners, to our Patreons, normally we will drop the episode for Patreons on Saturday mornings. And of course, Richard, you were so lovely to come over to my house, and we had this amazing conversation. And then, unfortunately, at the end of it, discovered that the file had been corrupted. Thank you, technology. So here we are again, and we're thrilled to have you here again. And one of the things that for me was such an amazing moment in that conversation was when you performed a monologue from the days doing portraying Mark Twain. So I don't know if you would be willing to share that with us
Oh,
again.
sure. One of the things that I discovered early on, and I don't think Hal Holbrook was doing it, was a thing called the War Prayer. And Mark Twain sets the scene, and I won't do the whole thing, but I'll just do the crux of it. But Mark Twain says that everybody was in church because the troops were going off the next day to fight. So the volunteers are there and the families, and the preacher gives a fiery sermon. And it's very powerful. But he's just reaching the heights of his oratory with his eyes closed, praying fervently to crush the enemy, etc., when an aged stranger entered and moved noiselessly up the main aisle, his head bare, his white hair descending in a frothy cataract, his seamy face pale even to ghastliness. With all eyes following him and wondering, he made his silent way and ascended to the preacher's side and stood there waiting. The preacher, unconscious of the stranger's presence, continued his moving prayer and finished at last with the words uttered in fervent appeal, "Bless our arms. Grant us the victory, O Lord our God, Father and protector of our land and flag." The stranger touched his arm and motioned for him to step aside, which the startled minister did, and then he took his place. For some long moments he surveyed the spellbound audience with solemn eyes in which burned an uncanny light. Then he spoke. "I come from the throne, bearing a message from Almighty God." The words smote the house with a shock. If the stranger perceived it, he gave no notice. "He has heard the prayer of your shepherd, his servant, and he will grant it if such shall be your request after I shall have explained to you its import, that is to say, its full import, in that it conveys more than he who prays it is aware of, except he pause and think. Upon the listening Spirit of God the Father also fell the unspoken part of this prayer, and he commandeth me to put it into words. Listen. O Lord our God, Our soldiers, idols of our hearts, go forth into battle. Be thou near them. With them in spirit we also go forth from the sweet peace of our beloved firesides to smite the foe. O Lord our God, help us to tear their soldiers to bloody shreds with our shells. Help us to cover their smiling fields with the pale forms of their patriots dead. Help us to rend the hearts of their unoffending widows with unavailing grief. Help us to turn them out roofless with their little children, to wander unfriended the wastes of their desolated land in rags and hunger and thirst, sports of the sun, flames of summer, and the icy winds of winter, broken in spirit, worn with travail, imploring thee for the refuge of the grave, and denied it for our sakes, O Lord, who adore thee. Blast their hopes, blight their lives, protract their bitter pilgrimage, make heavy their steps, water their way with their tears, stain the white snow with the blood of their wounded feet. We ask it in the spirit of love, of the one who is the source of all love, and the ever-faithful friend and refuge to all that are sore beset. Amen. Ye have prayed it. If ye still desire it, speak. The messenger of the Most High waits. Afterward, it was assumed the man was a lunatic, for there was no sense in what he said.
Yay.
That's rough.
Wow.
That's roughly.
No, that was so good. That is
I
so
remember
good.
different parts from I did from the last time.
Did you really? Did you mix it up a little bit there?
Yeah.
Or, 'cause I thought it was perfect.
No,
Yeah.
close. I'm not reading it. I wasn't reading it.
Oh, no, that's all
No,
right.
I
have it in my
know.
I know it's in my computer here somewhere, but I
That's
couldn't
also
find it in
memory.
time.
Incredible. Oh my.
It was really incredible.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
So that was,
Yeah.
I was
And
like,
a powerful message too.
so
You
I was
know?
like 18 years old, and
Yeah.
campus where all the freaks sat at one table in the student union. You know, when we would have a demonstration, there would be like 10 demonstrators and 50 counter demonstrators, fraternity boys. And,
Oh, of course. Yeah.
and it was a college where people made sure they had button-down shirts and nice clothes. Where I was wearing my old Boy Scout shirt all the time.
What year was this? What year?
67, 68, 69.
So like right there in the hole, like
Yeah,
Vietnam.
yeah. Well,
turmoil.
yeah. It was very upsetting because, especially on a conservative campus, you know,
Right.
didn't feel like you had a lot of sympathy.
Yeah.
No.
Divisive time.
But so how does that compare with now?
Well, I mean, there's just no comparison because of the internet, because of the technology, because of the miniaturization of computers. Everything is just so vastly different in good ways and bad, because good information can be spread, but also lies and evil things can be.
Right.
I mean, we've got this whole, when you've got thousands and thousands of TV channels, it's not hard to find 10 that'll say what you want to hear exactly.
So people are just like going to wherever who will tell them what they want to hear.
Yes.
You didn't have that. And then back then you had Walter Cronkite. You had 3 networks
Right.
and PBS,
They're
and
not
everybody
looking-
kind of was on the. Everybody kind of knew. Everybody agreed upon the facts.
And nobody could possibly tell what Cronkite's political view was, what Brinkley,
Yeah.
Huntley and Brinkley. We had, we had serious men and women who were just talking about, the issues and giving us the news in 25 minutes.
Right.
And then,
Yeah.
then 5 minutes of weather. And the problem now is it's 24/7, and it's so the people that and it's so cheap,
Yeah.
Anybody can have a TV
It's
channel.
all about getting clicks. It's all about getting people to getting attention
You just-
now. And so the more outrageous you are, the more attention you get. Right.
And if you've got an internet service, you can access anything,
Right. And you can be
That's-
propagandized too by, so now we have some recent reports about how, once again, just like in 2016, Russia and also now they're being joined by China.
Iran and China. Yeah.
And they're micro-targeting people based off, utilizing the Gaza situation and, free Palestine hashtags to divide those
But-
on the left, right?
Yeah, those of us on the left. But don't you think though that a lot of people, what's happened now is that they're finding out that there's someplace they can go where they can hear what they want to hear. Okay, like people who watch Fox News, they know they've been lied to. They know they've been lied to, but they want to hear that. They want to hear that these people are, everything the left says is wrong, that they're right about everything. I think that people are going to these places because that's exactly what they want. That's what they want to hear. It's not just that it's not that they're being lied to. They're going to places that will lie to them. They want to be lied to, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
A lot of these people just want to be lied. And I know how that feels because sometimes I don't want to hear, certain things. I want to go to my safe space. I want to go listen to Stephanie Miller or whatever, but I don't completely ignore reality.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. And when you have, when you have multiple credible sources, relied upon sources that are reporting the same thing, it's kind of hard to imagine that there are people out there that are just saying like, you know what? Yeah, right. That's, the deep state. Yeah, that's what they want you to believe, but we know what's really going on because we are so smart. We go to these.
Yes, they want to, yep. They want to feel like they know something that we don't know. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they've been wrong about everything.
Yeah.
And it must feel, that must be part of it because they were wrong about Vietnam, like we were just talking about, wrong about Iraq, wrong about Reaganomics. I mean, part of the reason why we're in the state we're in today is because of what the supply side economics, trickle down economics, deregulation, all the stuff that Reagan put in place, dismantling the New Deal.
Right. Yeah. And, and then of course, with book bans and, basically defunding education, the Republicans have had that campaign for decades, right? Totally against funding.
Yeah, they want to keep people stupid.
National standards. And now, they're moving on state by state, doing book bans. And, yesterday we talked a little bit about the book, what's going on in Houston, Texas, in one of the most liberal counties in the state, right, Anita? Where they're
in Harris County.
Yeah,
right.
Shutting down the libraries and turning them into detention centers, firing librarians.
They've taken over the school districts there. Is what they've done. They can override the school districts. In other words, the people that they trust don't have any power anymore. It's the state of Texas is pretty much, they say they want local government to make these decisions, but when they try to and they don't like it, then they come in and take over. They've done that in Texas. When small towns like Denton tried to ban fracking, the state came in and said, no, you can't do that. You can't, and you can't raise your minimum wage. There's different, every time the local government tries to do something, and that's what they're doing in Harris County right now in these schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is just a microcosm of what could potentially happen with a second Trump term. And if we've talked about Project 2025 and their agenda is allowed to take over our federal government.
Yeah, are you familiar with that, Richard? Project 2025.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have heard about it. It's getting more coverage. I don't know if you hear about it on regular. Do you listen to MSNBC or NPR or?
I
listen to Tom Hartman.
Tom Hartman. Yeah, Tom Hartman will tell you about it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But like on I've noticed that they're getting more and more people, like especially like on MSNBC, are talking about it. Before we didn't. Both Karen and I were like really upset about this, and we kept talking about it. And we kept trying to educate the people that are our listeners, but we weren't hearing about it anywhere else. And so now we're starting to hear about it.
Yeah,
and
it really is. It's Anita, even in just like since we started this podcast, if you Google Project 2025, there's multiple people
Lots of people are talking about it. Yep.
talking about it. So I feel like it is getting on people's radar, thank God, because it's a scary thing, you know, and they're
Well, we should.
The whole evolution has been pretty scary because the evolution has started with we'll run, we'll lose, we'll make a big stink, we'll make a lot of money. Oh my God, we won. Oh my God, we won. Well, okay, let's make more money. Let's see if we can't make more money. And then we'll get out. Oh, we're not going to get reelected. Well, we'll say we won anyway.
right.
And then next time we'll just say we won anyway. But how they could put him up, to me, the most terrifying thing is that they would put him up as a candidate. That there'll be that many people that would to put him up there and let him be their voice with all the stuff he's said as their hero, their model of integrity and leadership.
Oh my God, he's their answer.
He's a horrible person, just horrible.
Yeah.
It's funny because he's supposed to be the example of white supremacy because, you know, we had Barack Obama and here we go. And he's the answer to that.
Yeah.
I mean, he is just such an odious person in every way. There is nothing redeemable about him. Robert De Niro talked about how we could never play him because he doesn't have a redeemable characteristic. In every other, you know, every other
guys.
Yes, he's played a lot of bad guys in Casino and The Godfather, but yet they all had something in them that he could relate to that, you know, was good.
They at least love their own family.
Yes, exactly. He couldn't find anything. There is nothing about Donald Trump. I dare you to tell. There's nothing you could come up with. I dare you to try because it's just impossible.
Yeah.
Does he love his children? I don't think so.
No.
He would throw them under the bus in a second.
No. Yeah, and you know, and we were talking about this a little bit too. You know, with Ronna McDaniel no longer being the head of the RNC, and now she's joining NBC, and then I wonder about her and what this means for her. Is she going to shift? You know, Anita, you had touched on that a little bit as a possibility that maybe she's trying.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to think about that. I mean, MSNBC, I don't know. People are not going to, what is she going to come on there and do? Be a pundit? Nobody that watches MSNBC is going to be convinced by anything she says.
Well, and the people that she's going to be having to be on panels with, they're not going to let her off easy. They're not going to let her, you know, lie. You know, the way she's been going out there and lying about everything, you know, and denying
maybe
all the rest of it, you know. And then I wonder, so like with her doing this, and then who is that, the Republican, Anita, that just resigned? He said that he's resigning on.
Mike Gallagher resigned.
Right. Yeah, another gone.
Another Republican resigned, and he resigned at a time. I mean, look, the election is in November. Mm-hmm. The Republican Party is such a shit show that he could not wait that long.
Yeah.
And he left at a time where it is impossible for the Republican Party of Wisconsin to replace him. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to have a replacement. So the majority, the Republican majority, has only one seat. They are a 1-seat majority. Mm-hmm. So who knows? I mean, there may be more to come. We've seen 2 now. We saw in both of them. His problem was with their the way they impeached Mayorkas for nothing. He voted against that, and he got all kinds of shit for that. He also was not an election denier, so he was getting piled on about that. I mean, you have to deny reality to be a Republican now.
Right. Well, and what's telling too about the way these Republicans are doing it, it's not like they're calling out Trump or they're citing that they can't be a part of this anymore. They're not on board with Trump, right? It's like they're backing away slowly so as not to be noticed.
Right. Slipping quietly out of the room. Yes. Yeah. Backing away, backing out the door.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing it before the election too. So that tells you everything. I mean, they're not even waiting. They just want to get the hell out of there because it's such a shit show. I mean, that same day, Marjorie Trader Greene was up there with a motion to vacate
Yeah.
again. So what are they going to do?
She says, this is really just a warning.
I know. What?
I motion maybe kind of to vacate. She's like, what?
So,
Well, I just want to get his
sense.
attention, you know.
It's just a warning. But we need to take the time to find a speaker that, that I guess that meets her needs, which is to, burning the whole thing down. Mm-hmm. I guess she means her. Does she want to be the speaker? I mean, I don't. Who else? Who else would she not try to
Since she has a solid grasp of all the rules, she'll be fine.
Oh my God, she's insane. She's the same one who was up there with the pornographic pictures of Hunter Biden.
Right.
Yeah, but that's what they deserve. I've called my congressman and suggested that she is the leader of their party now.
Yeah.
They didn't like that.
They didn't like that, really?
They didn't like that. She is not. I go, well, that's who I see all the time up there.
Yeah. Is she?
Yeah.
Didn't you ask them? Is she the speaker?
Yes, I did. I said, "Isn't she the speaker?" And they're like, "No, this is Chip Roy's office." No, she's not the speaker. And I'm like, well, that's who I see all the time. So I just assumed she was the speaker of the House for you.
Yeah.
She's the talker.
Yeah.
Well, and she's writing ads, right, Anita?
Well, I don't know. Well, she's writing ads for the Democratic Party. That's what she's writing ads for. She also released a tweet. I don't know what you call them now, a post. And she said, our Republican majority has been a failure. And of course, everybody jumped on that. They're like, I mean, she's been writing these ads for Joe Biden. She wrote that other ad comparing him to FDR. And he's like, yeah, that's right. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah,
they don't
thought
like
that was
it?
a bad thing. She was talking about it like it was a bad thing.
We're comparing her guy to Hitler. And
yeah, she's comparing the guy that won, that beat Hitler. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's about right, actually.
All right. That sounds about right. Yeah.
That sounds about right. And the Republicans just keep making these ads the Democrats basically don't have to spend any money because Republicans keep making the ads for them. Nancy Mace and Chip Roy and Marjorie Taylor Greene and I guess probably Mike Gallagher now. Oh, no. Who's the other one that left, that just went after the party?
I'm going to look it up.
Anyway, the fact is, when he left, he just went off on the Republican Party. So, yeah, that's going to be another ad for the Democrats.
We couldn't do this without our loyal listeners and love hearing from you, so please give us some stars and a review if you are so inclined wherever you get this podcast. TruBlu Politics is sponsored by our wonderful TruBlu crew of listeners and our supporters on Patreon. As a small startup podcast, our Patreon members help us pay the bills to keep our podcast running and also allow us to keep investing in equipment upgrades for even better quality content in the future. When you sign up as a monthly TruBlu crew member at even just $5, you instantly unlock our private TruBlu pod chat and full episodes a day earlier than everyone else without ads in the middle. Upwards from there, we've made even more perks available, like having your name shouted out at the end of our show, and a personal Zoom call with me and Anita to discuss ways to overthrow the GOP. If you would like to become a Patreon subscriber at any level, go to patreon.com/TruBluPoliticsPodcast. That's patreon.com/TruBlu Politics Podcast. And as always, thank you. Looking for the perfect gift or just want to treat yourself? Life's So Full has you covered with everything from handbags, wallets, and travel bags to lanyards and more, all lovingly and uniquely handcrafted. Learn more at lifesoful.com. That's spelled LIFESEWFULL.com and enter code TruBlu, TRUBLU, at checkout for 15% off your next purchase. Hurry, offer expires May 15th, 2024.
These guys are just, it's just, who would want to leave these guys in control? I mean, leave them in power. They're just basically telling us every day they're telling us they can't govern.
Yeah.
and they need to be replaced.
And what's really scary to me is that they don't have the numbers. They do not have the numbers, clearly. He doesn't have the same percentage of Republicans he had the last time and he lost. So, I think it's just so clear they are going to lose. They are going to say they were ripped off, and they're trying to get people worked up to revolt against that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think what they're trying to do is steal the next election.
Yes.
That's what I think they're trying to do, because they're trying to set up. I mean, Rachel Maddow did a story about this, about how they're trying to get these election officials in these Republican states, or even in swing states, to not certify elections.
Right.
So that and that it'll be thrown to Congress to decide, or to the states.
Right.
Yeah.
And apparently, I think 26 states right now are run by Republicans, I think. So Republicans would have the advantage there.
So, okay, so given that it would be thrown to Congress, okay, and we have a slight majority in the Senate,
But it wouldn't be thrown.
So they're gonna have a one seat advantage in the House.
No, it would be thrown to the. Okay, each state gets a vote or two votes or something. I can't remember exactly what it is, but the point that 26 state governments are run by Republicans. Only 24 are run by Democrats. So they would have the advantage. Now that may change. That might have changed, but that's the way it was. It was in 2020.
Okay.
So in 2022, that may have changed, but I'm not positive. I'd have to look that up. But anyway, the point, it would be just a chaos.
Okay. So here now, and let's say that for some reason, because there were some people talking about, if it was, if neither candidate of the two major candidates,
got 270.
Got the 270 votes.
Electoral votes, yes.
It would go to where?
Then it goes to the states. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I see.
Okay.
The state legislatures.
Okay. And
the Congress just has the only thing Congress does is certify.
Okay.
I can't believe that even with that because you can see these Republicans dropping away, albeit quietly, not much fanfare. I think they're just going to melt away until they just don't have the numbers they need in order to enforce any kind of.
I think so too. I think this is just. I'm not sure what they're thinking, but I can't imagine they're going to get enough of the people to go along with this.
No.
Because even in 2020, when they tried, there were people that stood up and said no.
And there's a lot of those people that went to jail that other people are going,
that's right.
I want to go to jail.
I don't want to go to jail.
I like it and all. I don't think I want to go to jail.
Yeah.
I mean, they actually had to go to jail. And the other thing that's been really stuck in my craw in the last couple of days is bringing up Ashley Babbitt and not talking about how the courageous, strong fighting heroes, the revolutionaries, the Minutemen are going to save America. They grab a woman and they shove her through the window ahead of them while they're back, and she gets shot, and they just keep on going, Right. Oh,
and then Donald Trump sat there knowing that she'd been shot and didn't do anything. Didn't care.
Not news.
Didn't even. He just kept watching television. Just kept, hoping that they would somehow, overcome her. Or actually, he wanted them to break into the house, and then who knows what would happen. He wanted this to be successful.
Oh yeah.
He was not concerned about anybody getting shot.
No. Not at all.
Because it wouldn't be him.
Too,
That's right.
Astonishing too to have seen all of those people doing what they were doing, and with some assurance maybe in their mind that they weren't going to get shot.
Right.
Well, how did they know that they weren't going to get shot? Why did
they felt protected? They felt that he had called them there. They felt that they were doing this for Donald Trump, the president of the United States. They had this protection.
They
And
were on a
they
mission.
thought they were on it. And they actually believed it was like 1776. And these guys were righting a wrong. And Donald Trump called them to, to do this. And
felt
so
powerful.
therefore, there's no way they'd go to prison for it. They'd win.
Well, I know. Okay, so never mind prison. What about like not getting shot by law enforcement? How
I
did
don't
you
think-
figure that they weren't? I mean, that they weren't going to get shot by law enforcement.
Well, Donald Trump tried to protect them. Remember, he wanted the National Guard there to protect them.
Right.
That's what he wanted the National Guard there for. I don't know. Maybe they thought that there was some sort of protections.
Yeah, because that
Who knows?
came out after, right? That kind of came out after, but like the lead up to, how did these people figure that they could go down there and law enforcement wasn't going to be ready for them?
White privilege.
White
Yeah.
privilege, and also that they trusted there would be at least enough people in
Yep.
uniform that would be on their side. They
Yeah.
talked about a lot about we were welcome. Maybe some people did welcome them. There might have been a couple
Yep.
of goofballs in uniform that shouldn't have been on that job, but
Yep.
they were there and they said, "Come on in." That's possible, but still, once you get into the hallways, once you're smearing feces, once you're
Yeah. Bashing windows in.
going through people's desks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're not. It's not a protest. It's not a That's not a peaceful demonstration.
No.
It's not
They
a-
weren't worried about being shot,
it's not a
though.
normal
Oh, you're
tourist,
right.
Visit. They don't have like the you pay extra for the tourist visit where you can smear feces on the wall and rifle.
No. That's
I
not
wanna-
part of the tour.
No,
I want to know where the defenses that are normally used against a demonstration, the spraying of tear gas.
There was tear gas. There was tear gas.
But I mean, like,
And that didn't work.
Yeah, well, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough.
Effective,
everything,
yeah.
Right? They use bullets, rubber bullets, and all these different things. They come up with all kinds of things to use on demonstrations.
Once again, if that were a black mob, if that were a bunch of Muslims or black people, believe me, those things would have come out. If they actually would have been real bullets.
We saw
Yeah,
what
we've seen the
happened.
pictures. We've seen the pictures of the rows and rows of police preparing for a BLM protest.
Yes.
In Ferguson, remember the MRAPs and the
Yes.
the tanks and everything else coming
Yes.
down? Yes.
Yep.
Or in
yeah,
Boston.
Freedom Plaza, during the BLM, the George Floyd peaceful protest in Freedom Plaza. And there were federal police that were there that didn't have any identifiers, had no insignia on them. And they're there and because Donald Trump wanted to cross the street.
A lot of those people felt very protected because Donald Trump was president.
And he said, "I'll be with you."
Yes.
He didn't know he wasn't.
Yeah.
They thought they were on the side of the government. They thought they were on the side of the, because the president of the United States called them there.
Yeah. And I will go with you, he said.
That's right. I'll be with you.
I'll
March
be
to the
with you.
Capitol.
What could they do to us if we got the president with us?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He never made a second announcement. I changed my mind. I'm not going with you.
I'm not going. Yeah.
I don't think I will be going, but good luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if he had gone, it really would have been a shit show. He knew he was not. Remember, he said he knew those people were armed. Don't ever listen to the people that try to tell you there was no arms there.
Yeah.
There were many pictures of people up there with rifles, and there were people that brought in guns that were
Yep.
confiscated.
Yep. And what did Cassidy Hutchins say? Was Hutchinson?
Yeah, Cassidy Hutchinson said that
he said that
he knew they're not here for me.
They're not here, for me. They're not here to hurt me.
Yeah, they're not going to hurt me. So yeah, these people, they knew they knew they were there, or they thought they were there. They're doing the right thing. And if the president of the United States calls you,
Mm-hmm.
It's
that's what
patriotic.
you do. It's patriotic, exactly.
It's patriotic, and the next time you want to get out and march for, let's see, any kind of, protest against what's going on in Gaza, anytime you want to protest a police killing of an unarmed black person, anytime you want to, protest for your reproductive rights, guess what? Donald Trump has openly come out and said that he wants to be able to shoot protesters in the
No,
leg.
he said his Secretary of Defense at Esperdude said that when there were protests out there, he said he wanted them shot. He wanted them shot in the legs.
Yep.
Yeah, just in the legs.
In the legs.
Warning shot.
And if they miss, oh well.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And he also talked about how why can't the police bang perpetrators or suspects' heads on the squad
When they put them in the car, yeah.
Don't be so nice.
Yeah.
well, that'll be the least of our worries. He's already said he's going to completely immunize police from being held responsible for any kind of excessive force or extrajudicial killings.
Yep.
I mean, he said that at his rallies, and you know what? I know a lot of people paid attention to that or were heard about the bloodbath comment.
Yeah.
But honestly, if you listen to his rallies, there's so much more that is so frightening. When he talked about cops being able to do whatever they want, did you hear about that?
No.
Nobody talked about that. I mean, he constantly talks about going after Joe Biden and how he's going to have a DOJ that goes after Joe Biden or goes after, his enemies. I can't remember who else he says. He always brings up, he actually names people that he wants to go after.
Right.
Liz Cheney.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so frightening.
Mm-hmm.
And if people don't start paying attention, and I think they will.
No, well, look, and how does that play with your regular run-of-the-mill establishment Republican that has voted Republican all their life just because, that's what they've always done? But then you hear this person talking about how he's and naming names and naming Republicans, in addition to the Democrats,
Yeah.
I don't think that plays with anybody other than the MAGA extremists, and the white supremacists, people that are aligned with Project 2025 and what they want to do, allowing him to implement the Insurrection Act day one, basically doing away with civil service positions, taking away the independence of government agencies, which will basically impact negatively, really, really negatively, everything that we hold dear, pulling, completely overturning all of the accomplishments, with climate, taking
On an upbeat,
ban on abortion,
I can make an upbeat comment.
Yes.
Please.
No matter what kind of women they are, when it comes down to one issue, they'll get over their love of Trump. They'll get over everything else. Mm-hmm. When somebody tells them, yeah, but we're going to pass laws that actually only affect women.
Yes.
It has no effect on men. We're not going to make you get vasectomies, but the women we are going to control. So my most frightening cousins in Ohio, I think would probably not want Trump. I mean, I don't think they'll vote for Biden, but I think they'll just put a protest.
Yeah, I think so too.
Haley or something, but they're not.
Yeah.
They have because they have experience with it.
Yeah.
It's not like some ethereal right that nobody ever has any experience with.
Yeah.
Everybody has experience with. Roe v. Wade was a big thing, and it's been taken back. You can't do that. I can't imagine.
You're taking a right away. They took a right away. That's never been done.
Yeah.
No matter how in love with Trump and all the other things, the whole, and they get up in front of those. I see these women talking to. You see a lot of these reporters are going out and trying to talk to these people, and you see them going on and on. But you never hear them say, "I will give up my privileges to control my body."
Yeah.
Some men don't want me to do what I want to do with it because it means you can't have sex. You're not allowed to have sex. If you do have sex, then you have to have a baby. There's no way around it. There's no two choices. We decide. Right. And then
especially since they want to get rid of birth control
because it's my body,
Yeah, my body, my choice. Yeah, when it comes to the vaccine or a mask or something like that. Yeah, and it's only getting worse because these stories are coming out, even for women who are like maybe they're older or they always thought of themselves as pro-life or something. These kind of stories, it's actually very enlightening. People didn't understand that when you take that abortion is health care for a lot of women.
Yep.
When like these stories that you're hearing are women who wanted to have a baby. They're pregnant, and they find out something is terribly wrong, and either they're going to lose their life if they have this baby, or they're never going to be able to have other babies, or something like that, and they're forced to have an abortion because abortion is health care for women. And then you have and also there's these things like with rape or incest, and they try to put these exceptions in, which are so useless. Mm-hmm. First of all, when you say women can only have an abortion with the exceptions of rape or incest, what you're giving the game away, because what you're saying is we're only going to let you have an abortion if you weren't just out there having sex on purpose. If it wasn't your fault, if you got raped or something happened to you, then we're going to allow you to have an abortion. In other words, it's not really about life. It's about controlling you, the woman.
And I may be radical, but if you don't want to have a baby right now, I think that you should be allowed to not have a baby right now.
I agree. I guess I'm a radical too.
You don't have to explain it to anybody, even your own husband.
Exactly. It just drives me.
Your choice. You can't just.
That's right.
You can't just, people want me to have this baby, so I'm going to go ahead through the whole process.
Yeah.
Whereas right now we can end this and it won't be a huge, horrible, bad thing. But if we, I just don't feel comfortable with this. This is not what I want to do. This is not where my life is.
Yeah. Well.
It's nobody's business. It's nobody else's business. Period.
Yeah.
No matter how that you got pregnant, it's not anybody else's business.
Imagine what it is, and Anita, you're in a state right now that have all these restrictions.
Yes.
But, I mean, so yeah, imagine. It's like women already. We have to move about our days, differently than men. Like we're always kind of having to, survey our surroundings and kind of adjust how we navigate through our days. Okay, now you're a woman of childbearing years, and now just the being in a relationship with a man, and being able to have sex, to have a husband, and where you're trying to make plans for yours and your family's future, and decide when you want to, start a family. Now they're going after birth control. So they're going after birth control.
Well, right now, in Texas, right now, I have family members that have had children or want to have children that won't and will not be pregnant in the state of Texas because they're afraid.
Yeah.
Because if something goes wrong, and something can go wrong in pregnancy, it happens all the time. Yeah. They're afraid. They're afraid to be in Texas. Yeah. I mean, look what happened to Kate Cox, who was like, I think 20 weeks pregnant.
Yeah.
And she found out she had to have an abortion, or she could risk her life. And there was another woman who was actually a gynecologist. The same thing happened to her. She was an OBGYN, and she found out she was having her fourth baby, and she found out that if she had this baby, it could kill her. And both these women had the means to go out of state and get an abortion. Yeah. But there are plenty of women here who wouldn't have the means, because Texas is a huge state. It's not that easy to get out of. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Or
I fear for my daughter. I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I fear for my daughter. She's in childbearing age. Yep. And I think all the time, if she were to be pregnant and something were to happen, I would want the doctor to choose her. Okay. If it comes between her and the fetus, I want my daughter. I want that doctor to save my daughter's life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then, you have women being criminalized, like the woman in Ohio. 22 weeks has a miscarriage, and we're criminalizing women who have miscarriages. I mean, I think you're right, Richard. I think it's one of those things that it's
too far. Totally up to the woman. I just can't. Yeah. It's just so infuriating when people even talk about it. When people even talk about, exceptions, there's no, they want to get rid of, they want to ban abortion with no exceptions. Mm-hmm. What difference does it make?
They're more concerned about fertilized cells,
Mm-hmm.
single cell little like blobs, than they are about living children.
They
All
don't. That's
over.
right.
Yes.
In Gaza, in Israel, and everywhere in the world, there are children.
Here,
Here
children
in
are
this
dying.
country, children are dying or starving and not getting nutrition. So all this concern is, I don't know. Is it a way to appeal to the higher powers? Oh God, look, God, I'm going to save all these embryos. There's a fire in the clinic.
No, it's a way to control women.
Let the woman at the front desk die because I've got to save 10,000 embryos out of a refrigerator
No.
here, because that's the goal in life, is to what? It's just
Yeah.
it's just
It's to control women. That's it. When they control women's reproductive choices, they control women, because that's the way it used to be.
Yeah.
Women were under control before the birth control pill, before abortion was legalized.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now they want to turn back the clock so they can, women can't have those, can't make those own decisions about their own life because they don't need men anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want women.
Yeah. They're just going after things that, and taking away rights and going after the rights of people that do not impact their quality of life in any way, shape, or form. What we do with our bodies, what, LGBTQIA people do, who they love, how they identify, it has nothing to do with them. It does not impact their lives in one way, and then to just like turn it into this like perversion, as far as like bathroom bills or, it is frightening to me that there are this many people, and that because even though they're a minority group, that they are able to exercise with the GOP control over the rest of us.
Well,
I just don't understand how anybody can be on board with that. These are the same people. Freedom, and say you care about freedom.
Well, these are the same people that say they want small government, right?
Yeah.
And yet they want government to control every aspect of your personal life.
Right.
That's about as big a government as you can get.
Yeah, and what do they base it? Yeah, what do they base it? Oh, we don't want government in our lives when it comes to our guns,
Or vaccines.
Yeah, or vaccines, whatever they deem, important.
And those rights affect other people, because the only reason why we want any control over guns, it's not because we don't want nobody to have a gun. It's because those guns are killing us.
Yeah.
Okay. Because our freedom is infringed upon, because we can't go to the movie without worrying about being shot, because we can't go to a nightclub without worrying about being shot, because we can't go to church without the fear of being shot. We can't send our kids to school without worrying about them being shot. Where is our freedom?
Exactly.
It's a public health issue. Public health.
It is a public health issue.
We have a responsibility with its vaccines or guns or anything else. We have a responsibility to the public to maintain health. People who refuse to get vaccines, as long as they stay in their house and don't go around anybody
That's
else.
right.
Go live in the woods. You don't have to have a vaccine. But if you're going to communicate, hang out with my children at school,
yeah,
and whatever they tell you, if they say wear a mask, you just do it,
You just do it. Yeah.
Just having brakes on your car, I don't believe in brakes.
Yeah.
I don't believe in stoplights.
I use I stop when I need to stop. I run into a parked car. Why would I want brakes?
You're infringing upon my freedom.
Taking away my freedom to keep moving.
I mean, it's so silly. It really is. We have those laws to protect other people too. Okay, that's why we have them.
Protect one another, to be a good citizen.
We can't. You can't drive drunk.
Good. Where's the regard? The concern for the common good anymore? It's like, and being.
Well, it's like drunk driving. There were a lot of people that were pissed off that they couldn't drive drunk anymore. Well, yeah, because when you drive drunk, you may kill me. Okay.
Right.
So therefore, you can't drive drunk, or you can go to jail.
You can watch TV drunk. You can
go home and get drunk all you want and make a fool of yourself.
Get yourself a video game. You can go home and drive around in your living room.
Yeah,
exactly. But once you get on a road where I'm driving, where my kids are driving, where I might be, walking, then it becomes a problem.
Right. Yeah. It's like we want our freedom, but they want their freedom, right? DUMB.
Oh,
They want
Like, that's what
I thought you said free gum. Yeah.
free gum. Ooh,
Oh,
that's
free gum for all.
they only want their own freedom to be able to, do whatever they want, and
yeah.
which is not, just like when they talk about free speech. When they talk about free speech, they just want to be able to, use racial slurs or just say whatever they want about other people and try to, and they're mad that they can't use the N word or they can't use,
Mm-hmm.
racial slurs on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's the same type of thing. They don't really care. They don't understand free speech. They don't understand freedom.
Mm-hmm.
That it applies to other people too. We also should, have the freedom. We should also have the freedom to be able to live a safe life without having to worry about getting shot or getting a disease from them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it seems pretty reasonable to me, and to, allow for families to be able to protect and get health care for their trans children without being criminalized and
Well, that's freedom too, because when they talk about parental choice, well, what about the choice of a parent who has gender affirming care for their child? Then it's, they have to be all up in your business and telling you what you can and do and can or can't do with your child, right?
Yeah.
They didn't see Little Big Man, so they don't know that there were actually gender fluid people before 2024. They actually had them all along, and in the Greek literature and whatever. You don't have to pretend that it's something brand new. You just have to understand that it's brand new, that are people having a little more respect for each other and not insisting that you live my way or the highway. It's totally absurd. There's always been there have always been variations. There always have been from the beginning of time, and in every species. So somebody got a picture of two male whales having sex the other day. I mean, it's like, oh no, it can't be. And I very often see these people on the tube, YouTube, railing about how you're going to turn my kids gay, or you're trying to turn my kids gay, and you can't make me do this and that. And nobody's even talking to them. They feel attacked by people who are not even directly addressing them. They're saying, please leave me alone. I'm not saying I want you to live my way.
Yeah, live and let live, don't impose, we just want to live in a free society where we can live and love the way we want to live and love, right? That's it.
I've been in show business most all of my life, but for like the first 4 years, and I was working in equity theater even, I didn't even understand. The director sent me to get a script off the bed in his apartment, and when I got there, there was only one bed.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, where does Bill sleep? Where does Bill sleep? You guys can't afford two beds? My God, I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
This is crazy. They've only got one bed. Look at all these African masks. Wow. They have zebra skins, and oh my God, this place is great. I would love an apartment like this.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So on that note, so Richard, we've got how many months to the election, Anita?
I think, well, let's see, 8 months? No, less than that.
Less than that.
March.
So
April.
Richard, can you send us off with some hopeful words, to get us through until the election?
8 months. Sorry.
What we need to be focusing on.
Well, that's one thing that I did say, and I think that Roe v. Wade is going to be top of mind to a lot of women voters who are not going to.
Not just women. Yeah. Go ahead.
And men too, but I'm just
Right.
especially, I'm thinking of like these really, really hardcore right-wing women who go on and talk about he can never do anything wrong. He could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, but he can't take away my health care. And it's because they talk like that. It's a lot of fun to dress up and you're part of a rally and a thing. But I think when they get down to it, they're going to I think that he's not going to get the support that everybody keeps saying. For the purpose of a news story, they're going to keep saying it's close. That's probably as dangerous as anything else. Just falsely reporting, boy, it's so close. That's why we have to bring in this person. We have to bring Romney McDaniels in, and we have to bring all these other people in, because it doesn't look close enough unless we have a bunch of right-wingers,
Right.
I was listening to that, I can't remember his name, the great scientist, African-American scientist. He's just so wonderful. He's
DeGrasse, Neil
Yeah.
deGrasse.
Yeah. Neil.
Yeah, and he's talking to this host who's going, oh, I don't know, man, the vaccine. I don't know about the vaccine. I don't have to take it, and he's trying to explain to him, you are risk making other people. And it's like the analogy of the brakes in a car, oh, your kid can make, and he said, well, go live on a beach all by yourself and you can do that. But he wasn't having it, I look at all sides. There are scientists that say this and there are doctors that say that.
Oh, please.
Try to do everything, You just listen, and he kept saying, no, it's just public health policies.
Yeah.
He said, no, they were trying to force, the man was trying to force us to take these poisons that are going to kill us, and 10,000 people died, and, But, a woman would hear that and go, yeah, but still Roe v. Wade,
Yeah.
That's my hope.
That's true. That's probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds
People
like
just don't like it when you take away right. They just do not like that.
Yeah. So, Richard, you feel that is the issue that is going to tip the scales.
I do.
Yeah. Thank you again, Richard. And
My pleasure.
we're going to head out, and
See you soon.
we will talk soon. And goodbye, Anita.
Bye.
Bye, Richard.
Bye, Richard.
Bye.